We made it. We made it to the end of the season. Good morning, everybody. Sam here, United People's TV, here with probably the only show I think we'll do where we take a look back at the season that is now finished. Man United finished 8th in the Premier League, our worst ever finish in the league. The season itself is not over. We've got one game left, an FA Cup final against City on Saturday. We're not going to speak about that. This show is going to be about looking at this season. We're going to speak about the game yesterday, the individual moments, Diogo Dalot, Rasmus Hojlund, Bruno Fernandes. We'll take a look back at the whole season. All of you, and get this is cool. Last week, I held some votes. We did some votes on the community tab. Over 140,000 votes were sent in. So we're going to run through the UPTV community player of the season, goal of the season, young player of the season, disappointment of the season. I think there's one more as well, but that'll be cool. That's later in the show. And yeah, we can just have a chat like we always do every single morning. And then from tomorrow onwards, we can really take a full look at the summer. I've got so much content planned, and I'm just looking forward to not talking about United playing football. Although we did win our last 2 games of the season. So if you want to talk about a little bit of momentum, I suppose there's some going into the game against City on Saturday. And look, we'll speak about it today. You can fire in your comments and your questions like you always do. You can see there's a little bit of a new thumbnail style. Well, it's not massively different thumbnail style, but just a slight tweak. Slight tweak on the overlays as well. Just fresh ahead of the summer. Good morning to everybody. I see who's here from the member gang. We've got T, Carl, Vicky, good morning to you. Ant as well. Alex, you're there. Who else is here? Josh, you're here as always. And Sigmund, good morning to you, man. Teresa, Dan, Moncton, Mania, Teclom, Simon, Marcus, Giles, good morning to all of you. And Aaron, too, who's on Facebook. Let's have a quick look. Good morning, Matt Frost. Kenny Johnston. We've got Wayne Richardson. We've got MC Busymouth. Hype. And Chris Barrow. Good morning to all of you. Now, yeah, Nicholas, you can say it down there. We survived. It was a war of attrition is like 2 things that sort of like just go against each other and just eventually wear each other down. That was a season of attrition, really. That's kind of the way I would describe it. We had moments, man. We had individual games, we had individual performances, but largely it's just, it is a season that everybody is going to want to forget. It's a season that's going to get cast to the history books, and nobody needs to speak about it again. All right. Man United finishing 8th. I mean, look, it was an awful season. We finished on a negative goal difference. And now, Man United, we do not have European football next season unless we beat City in the FA Cup final. Now, if you really, if you're determined to be positive, be like, well, you never know, Sam. It might actually work out. Man United not having European football next year to be part of a rebuild. I could see that, but that is, boy, you are looking for a silver lining. Man United not being in the Champions League next year would probably be a very fair reflection of where we are as a football club right now. But not being in the Europa League, not even being in the Conference League, boy. I'm not saying that that's the measure of success for this season, but it's a real measure of how poor this season has been overall. A good thing is we don't have to talk about it anymore. Let's move on. Mania, good morning to everybody, man. Mania gifted 10 memberships. Alex, you gifted 5. Let's get the 20. Let's get the 20 gong out. All of you helped me. We all helped each other through this season. Ahmed, out you come.
It's Garnacho. He has Ahmad to his left. He finds Ahmad. It's Ahmad Diallo for United. Ahmad Diallo has won the game. One of the most incredible games of football you are ever likely to see. And the theatre of dreams has erupted.
Gaz is going to be old and grey sitting there listening to that and just put a smile on his face. Put a smile on my face. That was probably the moment. What would you say was a moment of the season? One good thing, and there's not that many good things this season, but one good thing is despite how crap we were, we took 4 points off Liverpool and booted them out of the FA Cup. I'll take that. That's pretty much all we can take. Oh, let's be honest. Erik Ten Hag speaking about it after the game. You have to finish higher. Wah. Understatement of the century. 60 points. 60 points. Oh. I'm so glad we don't have to talk about that season anymore. And you know what's hilarious? Genuinely, I find this hilarious, right? Well, first things first, I had to fix this photo. All right, Guardiola there holding up 6 fingers. Oh, mate, you're actually missing one there. There you go. Don't worry, ladies and gents. I fixed it for him, all right? Fixed it for him, 115. Yeah, that's a little bit better, mate. But City yesterday, right, I just won their fourth on the spin. No one's ever done that. And I don't think anybody will ever do that again. Nor do I think that... Anyway, let's see what happens when... I think their court date is in October. But, I mean, we all know, right? We all absolutely know that their lawyer's going to find some way of worming out of it. That's what lawyers do for rich people. But, like, look at this. Sky Sports yesterday, actually this morning, saying, look, the end of season awards. Look at the thumbnail on YouTube, right? City have just won 4 in a row. There are so many talking points. So many talking points that you could run through. And they put underachievers, Man United, Man United, Man United, Man United, Man United on the thumbnail. And you know what? This will piss Pep off until he's 6 feet under. No one cares about City. Like, nobody does. Speaking about United having an underachieving season is bigger news than you winning 4 in a spin, than you winning your 6th title, mate. Sorry about that. And that will piss him off until he is in the grave. It really, really will. And that puts a smile on my face. I'll be honest, man. That just makes me laugh. Because it'll be so easy to just get under Pep Guardiola's skin. Oh, my word. Nuruddin, man. Wow. I've just seen what you've just done. Pep, mate. How many memberships did Nuruddin just gift? 115. Nuruddin, man. A round of applause for the comedy factor there. And round of applause for the incredible generosity of you and everybody this season. I think as a community, we've all stuck together. And that's what communities do. That's why we're here every single morning. The amount of therapy rooms we've had to open on a Monday. But Nuruddin, I mean, this won't even do it justice. I've been looking forward to using this. Let me put a quick smile on your face. This is random, but if you haven't seen this, this will make you laugh. Big up to Nuruddin, man. Just enjoy this.
And Louis van Gaal obviously irritated there by what he considers to be a dive by Alexis Sanchez. Oh my goodness! What is that? It appears that Louis van Gaal has just shapeshifted into a hen. That is crazy. And now he's on the loose. Oh, now he's disappeared altogether, leaving fans and officials alike in wonder over what just happened to Louis van Gaal. Oh, here he is! Can you believe this man? He certainly has his ways of making a point, and shape-shifting into a cock is no one of them.
I guarantee a lot of you hadn't seen that before. I hope I don't get shut down for copyright for that. I'm just appreciating it. It's top level. It's good that we can still make a laugh about it, you know, after the season that we've had. And I suppose it's the expectations going into it. Hey, look, it's a funny one. It's a funny video, right? Nuruddin, mate, you're a legend, man. You keep this community smiling, and I try my best. Let's get into talking about the game itself yesterday. Quick run through of key talking points, and we can speak about it. And then we're going to run through the end of season awards. We'll speak about player of the season, but there's a little bit of alternatives too. There's plenty we can speak about. Right. Let's speak about the game. Okay. It was a game where Brighton had what felt like 75% possession. 75% plus control. Man United on the back foot. Opening 10, 15 minutes, maybe. We seem to have a good shape. We seem to be able to bring the ball forward. But then Brighton just... I think it was it early this season when first 10 minutes we had a good shape against Brighton, and then they made a little bit of a tweak, and they split the centre-backs, and then we couldn't do anything. But we won 2-0 yesterday. Football. Eh? Ultimately, it's the final score and the result that matters. But it was a performance where United were pretty much getting played off the park. It was a performance where we had the shape that I've wanted to see early this season. Third game in succession that we've used it. Amrabat, I don't know what Amrabat was doing yesterday. Amrabat was just like, he had no awareness. There was a bloke behind him, like 6 times. Just, when someone's just dithering around and has got no spatial awareness. Weird from him. But 2 goals, right? Richie saying, who cares? We got 3 points. That's all that matters. I think it's important because we've got City coming up next, all right? And momentum is everything. Momentum and confidence are 2 of the most important intangibles in football. When you've got momentum, you do things, your team does things, and individually, you just do things you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Same with confidence. You're just a better footballer. Things that might be difficult when you don't have confidence are just easy, just kind of happen when you've got confidence. And Diogo Dalot, right? We'll speak about the end of season awards, but absolutely should be right up there with the player of the season nominations, man. He's, in my opinion, really developed. And I think development is key. Erik Ten Hag was speaking about him after the game. And he said this. He goes, there you go. He's a player. Actually, I didn't read this first. He is a player who developed as a fullback, and not just as a fullback, but as an inverted one. I think his development has been very good this season, and we are very pleased with him. Maybe I already had that in my head. But I think that's what Diogo Dalot has done this season. Has he been one of the best players in the league? No, he hasn't been one of the best players in the league. Has he been one of our best players? Yes, he has been one of our best players. And I think he deserves that credit. And you know what? With certain players, you can probably question their attitude. I think that's fair, right? I really don't think you can do that with Diogo Dalot. I think you can have a go at him for sort of quality on the pitch, for mistakes he makes or switching off at the back post. But in terms of actually being a professional and being committed, Diogo Dalot has been there pretty much all season long. And I think he deserves his stripes. Sandman saying he's becoming a real leader. And there's a really nice comment he did, actually, about Rasmus Hojlund, which I'll run through now, kind of segue into that. And you're saying Mainoo's going to be player of the season? Well, we'll run through the end of season awards a little bit later in the show. Didn't miss the game yesterday. Interested to hear what really happened, says DP. Well, Man United got played off the park. And it wasn't really difficult for Brighton either. The game had a proper pre-season vibe to it. United just happy to sort of sit in shape. Brighton could have and should have scored 1-2 goals before we ended up scoring. Ball over the top from Casemiro, great goal from Dalot. And then Rasmus Hojlund created and finished a chance on his own. And we'll speak about Rasmus Hojlund now. There's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out before we move on. Rex, you're saying, this channel got me through a lot. I hope INEOS can turn the ship around. We've had so many false dawns. I think I needed to go outside. I need to go outside. I seriously need to get away. But I think we've had a lot of false dawns before. I don't think this one is a false dawn. We just don't know how long it's going to take for the sunrise. Prophetic of me there. But I don't think it's a false dawn under INEOS. I just don't know how long that journey is going to be. Alex is saying, remember the therapy rooms this season? Because when the silverware comes in, it's going to be incredible. I'm clinging onto cup magic and Derby Day luck for Wembley. Boy. I'm looking forward to and terrified of that game in equal measure. I think that's pretty fair of me. But Rasmus Hojlund, okay? Rasmus Hojlund. I think he has had not an incredible debut season, but given the expectations placed on Manchester United players when they sign, given the fact that he was 20 when we signed him, given the fact that we paid 70 plus million, so the pressure was on him straight away, and given the fact that there was not another striker in this squad that he could lean on, learn from, all of it was on Rasmus Hojlund. He's on 16 goals. And I think that's a credit to him. And especially, by the way, after the start that he had at Manchester United. What was it, 14 Premier League games before he got his first goal? Can't remember what it was. Thereabouts. But he's certainly built resilience and certainly built character this season. And I'm sure that we did a poll. I'm sure we did a poll at the start of the season. I said, how many goals would you be happy on Rasmus Hojlund finishing and saying it's a good season? And I think we did 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and 15 to 20. And I'm pretty sure it was that 15 to 20 where everybody said if he can get inside that, then he's had a good season. And he's on 16 going into the FA Cup final where he's going to score 4 anyway. So he's going to get to 20. Well, I said 3 yesterday. I've just given him another one. But Delo, speaking about him, actually, this is what he said on Instagram. He goes, this is me realising that I will never get used to the view of United fans celebrating. Thanks for the support. And there's one thing to remember as well, and I say this quite a lot. It really is, in my opinion anyway, it's an intangible. It's not a reason you do sign a player or a reason you don't sign a player. But having a player who's genuinely a United fan makes a difference. It gets that extra 5-10% out of players when sometimes players just don't want to do it. And yesterday, this is Diogo Dalot speaking after the game, and he said, look, I told him straight after the goal, that's the mentality that we want to see. Whether you're a starter or you're on the bench, you have to be ready for 5, 10, or 20 minutes. You have to give it your all. And that is exactly what he has done. And I think he should be really, really happy and proud of himself for what was a good debut season. And you know full well how I judge players. I won't ever judge a player fully. I won't make a fully formed opinion about a United player in their first season at the club. Last season, I was willing to give Anthony the benefit of the doubt. I think he had some goals. I think he had some moments. I thought, if he can develop in those, then he can become a better player. And then sod Anthony, get him out of the club. No chance. Gone. Vamos. Absolutely ridiculously disappointing this season. Rasmus Hojlund, given the fact that we don't pass him the ball. Like I saw a stat. I don't know whether it's completely true. But I know that Rasmus Hojlund's conversion rate is very good. I think it's like 20 to 25%. But I think his conversion rate even after December is even better because he has hardly got a chance. He's hardly ever passed the ball. And he scored that goal that he scored yesterday 3 times, I think, this season. Did it against Newcastle when he came off the bench. I think he did it against West Ham early this season. It's like he's on the edge of the box. And it must be that the defenders are thinking that he's going to be going inside to cut on his left foot. But he touches it to the other side on the right foot and then fires in a shot, low shot to the opposite corner. Actually, no, against Brighton it wasn't. It wasn't a low shot to the opposite corner. It was a low shot straight. But really good goal. It was a real striker's goal. And I'm just really happy with his first season, man. Yeah, Matt, I saw that. It was 9 goals from 19 shots since Boxing Day. I don't know whether that's completely correct, but if that is correct, that is mind-boggling in terms of a clinical finisher. Nuruddin, man, how you doing? What are you saying? I believe I said he'd get 10 to 15, so getting 16 is nothing short of great, considering the disasters of this season. Yeah, man. I think we should all be really... in my opinion, the striker that we need is an experienced striker who does have athletic ability. I'm not saying sign somebody who's like 34 and can't move and is a statue, but I'd rather go for a bit of experience than someone young. Just a personal preference. I think that will help Hojlund more, and that's what we've got to do next season when we get another striker in. Danny is saying, very impressed with Baleba yesterday. Brighton discovering another gem in midfield, 20 years old, and let's be honest, he marked Manu out of the game. I think he had a very good game. Manu was getting very physical on Manu. I think he might have had a clash of knee at one point as well. He looked a little bit short in some areas, and let's be honest, it's Mainoo's breakthrough season. Still think that we just need to find one more midfielder to go in there. Mainoo, Bruno, and someone else. Ben Yedda, says Alex. There's quite a few. Yeah, and dropping deep to pick up the ball. Maybe I'm wrong in my assessment of saying that Rasmus Hojlund is a penalty box striker, and that I think that's what he's going to develop into. All right, and as I said, Cristiano Ronaldo turned himself into a penalty box magician. That's what made him the greatest goal scorer in the world for like 3-4 years. I think Rasmus Hojlund will develop into that penalty box striker. Once we have a team that's really, really capable and everything else is good, I don't think he'll have to drop deep to pick up the ball, to create chances. But that's what he was doing yesterday. He dropped deep, picked up the ball, created the chance himself. Well done to Rasmus Hojlund, man. I think he should be happy with that first season. Let me read a couple more comments out down here. Tony is perfect, says Jason. Personally, I don't want to sign Ivan Toney, because I don't think he would be happy unless he was playing every week. He's just at that point in his career, and I think he would cost a lot of money. And I think that investment-wise, I would put that somewhere else first. Halftime Oranges. You're saying his last 2 sub appearances feel like they show next year he needs to focus his energy into quick attacking bursts rather than pressing endlessly. Really good comment there, and something I actually do agree with. United, our press this season has just been awful. So bad. It was a big contributing factor to probably injuries, how easy it was to play through us, and probably players not having that attacking burst when they need to. If you're going to press, you've got to press as a team, and we just haven't done it. Nuruddin saying, I think we should look into getting Lookman. Hey, well, yeah, they were good teammates at Atalanta. How old is Lookman now? He's got to still be young, isn't he? I mean, he's not exactly a striker. He's 26 now. Damn. I thought that guy was so much younger. I thought Everton got him when he was really young. Oh, anyway. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of strikers that we could throw into the mix. That's for sure. But yeah, look at this. This is a good little chart. So this is showing the debut seasons of Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, and Rasmus Hojlund. Man United, right, Hojlund down there. Played 3,000 minutes, 16 goals and 2 assists. Looking at this, he makes you... Shame he's such a scumbag. Marcus Rashford in his debut season, 8 goals and 2 assists. And Anthony Martial with 17 goals and 7 assists. Haaland can be really happy with that first season, man. Really happy with that first season. Speaking about Martial's debut season, gets us all sentimental again. I think it was probably a bit of both, but it feels like injuries and attitude were probably the 2 blockers for Martial at Manchester United. What could have been, eh? What could have been with Martial? What could have been with Greenwood? And what still may be with Marcus Rashford, but we'll see. Hojlund, brilliant. Brilliant debut. Well, not brilliant. I'm going overboard there. He can be really happy with that first season. And in a season of chaos, he scored 16 goals. And the seasons, well, you all know what I think about Bruno. I've not exactly hidden my opinion on him. And I've always found it very, very strange. But look at this, right? I've always found the criticism of it just ridiculous. Bruno Fernandes created 114 chances in the Premier League this season in this ridiculously dysfunctional team. Playing deep very often as well. And that's the most of any player in the Premier League. Last season, created 119 chances. The most of any player in the Premier League. So for 2 seasons in a row, Bruno Fernandes has created more than any player. Bogus stat. I don't know what to say to that. If you think that's a bogus stat, yeah, mate, your username's facepalm. Just go and hit yourself in the face. Bruno Fernandes and his creative output is ridiculous. And it's not even those, right? We go here. The season before. So these 2 seasons here, Bruno's created the most chances in the last 2 seasons. And the 2 seasons before that, he was only 1 off the top. He's nearly been the top creator of chances for 4 consecutive years in the Premier League. 3 out of the last 4, and he was only 1 off the top the year before. Get this man a functional team, and he will become a lot more of a functional player. Because I think this is where I think some criticism is fair. A lot of the times this season, Bruno's kind of operated as a bit of a dysfunctional player. In a dysfunctional system, he can be extremely dysfunctional. Running around too much, trying to do too much. Conversely, has worked against Bruno Fernandes quite a lot this season. Next season needs to be so much more settled positionally, right? Positionally, he just has to hold his spot. And by doing that, he should be able to create more, even more. Love the bloke. Really, really do, man. Danny's saying as soon as he gets the midfield defensive security, he won't have to drop back. I mean, it's partly that. It's partly down to coaching instructions. It's partly down to Bruno himself. Kind of wanting to constantly be on the ball. Sometimes you just have to hold position and wait for the ball to come to you. Whereas a lot of the time this season, he's tried to start attacks, be the middle of the attack, sometimes be on the end of it as well. Nuruddin saying, Bruno with a proper CDM and striker around him will have one of the scariest seasons ever seen in football. I firmly believe that Bruno and Mainu are 2 parts of a really, really top tier midfield. And we all know what that missing part is. And then you got Mason Mount as an alternative to Bruno. I mean, it's 60 mil for a squad player that's basically going to hardly play because it's Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, I think that was a misappropriation of funds last summer. I understood it at the time, but I didn't expect the drop-off from Casemiro. But Bruno, love him, man. Ross, you're saying, I don't mind Bruno's chaotic nature if we had 2 solid CMs behind him. And I would be very surprised if next season... See, look, as it stands, the way that it's shaping up, right? Erik ten Hag's going to be in charge of Manchester United at the start of next season. We've all had our opinions on Erik, and I know which games I wobbled the most after. And I've said this before, but it was Chelsea when we turned a 3-2 win into a 4-3 defeat, and Coventry. I think those are the 2, and Palace was bad as well, I'll be honest. Palace was really bad. Those 3 games made me wobble the most. And it's not that INEOS have given him the public statement saying that Erik ten Hag is going to be in charge of Manchester United next season, because they haven't. So any sort of confidence that Erik ten Hag has in his job is coming from behind the scenes and the private conversations that he has been having with INEOS, and no doubt that they have had them. But Erik ten Hag is going to be in charge for the FA Cup final, and it looks like he's going to be in charge of Manchester United at the start of next season. Now, things can change, okay? I wouldn't put any money on it. I wouldn't say I'm totally confident he's going to be in charge next season. But look, De Zerbi has now left Brighton. Said he's not got a job. Said he wants to stay in the Premier League. I don't know what De Zerbi's doing, but his stock has massively fallen in the second half of the season. Brighton had a lot of injuries, sure. But De Zerbi and that reputation that he was building, I'm not saying it's irreparably damaged, but the second half of the season at Brighton did some damage to it. Erik ten Hag's reputation, massively, massively damaged this season. Beyond repair? I don't think beyond repair, but damaged. And Jason Wilcox was there watching the game. Dave Brailsford was there watching the game. And they're probably looking at it going, well, what Brighton are doing is what we want to do. That's more... I very much think that's going to be our game model. Basically, what we thought we were getting when Erik ten Hag came in, I imagine is going to be the game model that Jason Wilcox, that Dave Brailsford, that they want at Manchester United. It is being proactive. It is having command and control of the ball. It is chance creation through a variety of options, whether it's direct on balls, whether it's through balls, whether it's chances created through patterns and build-up. That's, I think, what Wilcox and Brailsford and Ratcliffe will want to see next season. And Neem is saying if Erik ten Hag gets sacked, who can replace him? I mean, options are... I said it a while ago that because of everything that's going on this summer with Liverpool needing a new manager, with Barcelona apparently not needing a new manager now, but maybe still needing a new manager. I have no idea what's going on with Xavi. Juve need a new manager now as well. Bayern Munich need a new manager too. Just everything that's going on is chaos in the manager market. Right now, I don't know where you're going to be looking towards. Honestly, Graham Potter might be a conversation that people have. I personally think that Graham Potter is going to be going to Nice. I was going to bring this up a little bit later in the show. I may as well bring this up now. Because INEOS have got a rebuild to do. INEOS have a rebuild this summer with Nice. Because it looks like Francesco Farioli is going to be going to Ajax. Because Graham Potter turned down the chance to take the job there. So it's likely going to be Farioli. And Florent Gisolfi is now going to become AS Roma's sporting director. Is that, what's his face? Munchie. Was he the one who left? Can't remember. I think it was quite a famous one. But anyway, it looks like the good managerial appointment and the good sporting director appointment, they're now going to be leaving Nice and taking a step up, both to Ajax and to Roma. So INEOS have got to do another rebuild there at the same summer where they have to, well, continue doing everything at Manchester United. But I imagine Graham Potter goes there. So I don't even think Graham Potter's going to be an option. Not that I would personally have put him down as an option. Just personally. I had no idea what to expect. But it kind of feels... It kind of feels like Erik ten Hag's going to be in charge at the start of next season. Right, there's a couple of super chats. Let me read these out. And Garlic Bread, man. How you doing, man? I want some garlic bread now. Every time I see your name, I want garlic bread. Gifted 10 memberships.
Oh, Chin!
I forgot it was that. That's probably my favourite one. Let's read this super chat out down there. Who's this from? Anthony. He's saying, for years, we have rightly held the Glazers accountable for what has happened to our team. INEOS have been impressive so far, but next season, they are on trial to improve this club. Well, I think that's fair. I think it's completely fair. And I personally would say that INEOS are on trial now. INEOS, I've said this so many times, and it's completely true every single time. You can measure the success of a football team by how well they do in the transfer market. You can't measure the whole success. Look, that's the wrong way to phrase it. You can't measure the success of a football team by how they do in the transfer market. But successful teams, invariably, when you look back at the transfer market, you look back and you go, they got that right. That was a good signing. That was a good signing. Setting this player was a good idea. And that signing worked out to be signing of the season. Successful teams have successful windows. And I don't think anybody can ever really say that about Manchester United. Last season, I thought we were heading for like a 9 out of 10. Up until the point where Maguire and McTominay were going West Ham, and I thought that we would sell those two and then sign Todibo and bring someone else in, maybe. It didn't quite work out that way. But they have to get it right in the transfer market because we need more successes. Segue. Like Lisandro Martinez. That was a successful signing by Manchester United. Martinez back in action yesterday. Speaking about it after the game. It was... If you're going to be looking for positives yesterday, you're going to be looking at Rasmus Hojlund's goal. I think it was a good performance overall from Diogo Dalot and seeing Lisandro Martinez get 60 minutes. We spoke about this, didn't we? We were like, I don't really want to see... Did he get like, what was it? 10, 15 minutes against Newcastle, I think it was. And he started against Brighton and he came off on 60 minutes. It was organised, completely organised and planned, pre-planned. And we need him fit. You saw that we were trying to... When Martinez is there, everybody looks towards giving him the balls as much as possible in the build-up. but we just couldn't play through Brighton. They out of possession, they had a very good shape, and we just couldn't have any sort of central progression. They were marking the fullbacks. It was just a very good shape. And I think that's a fair comment. Yeah, he did look more cautious than usual, and it's almost like he's been out for months, and that's his first start. I think he should have been cautious. And he absolutely needs to start the FA Cup final. Who partners him? I mean, as long as it's not Casemiro. I mean, it cannot be Casemiro. I mean, it can be Casemiro. I hadn't even thought of that. I suppose it depends on the... Well, Varane was fit enough to come off the bench. You would imagine he wouldn't do that. So it would probably be Casemiro, Bruno. I don't know. I imagine that Casemiro probably goes back into midfield. Somebody, the opposite, we're speaking about Martinez making his first start for however long. 3 months, something like that. Alejandro Garnacho making his I think it was 37th. And I still haven't done this research. I'm going to be doing hopefully a little mini documentary on Garnacho because I think he deserves some real praise for this season. Because I would be so surprised if Rooney or Ronaldo or any other 19-year-old in Manchester United's history started 37 consecutive games for us. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but if it has happened, it's probably happened once or twice. And I think he just looks... He's kind of playing in autopilot at the moment. He kind of plays in autopilot a fair amount of times. His head down, that's how Garnacho plays. But even taking Ahmad off and leaving Garnacho on for the full 90, mate, the ability and the fitness. Man, getting old is crap, isn't it? But at 19, to be playing the way that he plays, and he's chasing balls down in like the 85th minute. Sorry, I have a comment that caught my eye. Garnacho's too selfish. Sell him. Nope. Do not let him go anywhere. He's going to develop. I think he's developed a lot this season. I think next season is a development of his game where United actually operate as a genuinely functional team. United actually have repeated patterns. United actually build around him. I wanted him to get a rest. I wanted Rashford to start. I wanted Garnacho to get a rest. But I suppose he's got a week off before the FA Cup final. So technically, that is a bit of a rest. I think his development this season has been very good in the first half of this season. And then I actually think he's been slightly overplayed. We haven't had an overlapping fullback for Garnacho. You know how much that killed Marcus Rashford? Because everybody doubled up on Marcus Rashford. And everyone's been doubling up on Garnacho too. I can't wait to see him next season, man. When we've got a proper team. I think he'll only just continue to get better. I'm going to see what you're saying about Garnacho in the comments. Aaron, you're saying he looked shattered yesterday. I think he's looked pretty tired for a few games in a row now, if I'm being totally honest. Can we get a video of your ideal realistic summer of buys and sales? Don't worry, ladies and gents. Make sure you do subscribe because I've got lots of content planned. I'm going to be doing a complete keep or sell end of season after the FA Cup final. I've already done that previously, but it's end of the season, so it's going to be refreshed. And I'm also going to sort of do it in priority tiers because you can't just sell everybody this season. So I'm saying, who am I selling first? Who am I willing to keep for one more season, etc., etc. Going to be doing how INEOS will rebuild Manchester United. Going to be doing my dream signings. There's lots of content coming, and I'm looking forward to actually being able to speak about the future rather than the present, which, let's be honest, has not been a good season. It has not been a good season. Let's move on to the next talking point. Yeah, yesterday, man, I was so weird from Amrabat. Like it was the lack of awareness that really just caught me off guard. So often he was just caught on the ball. Didn't see that player who was coming over his shoulder, even though about 2 minutes before that same player came over his shoulder and nicked the ball off your foot. It was odd from him. Really odd from him. Because he's normally, that's kind of a natural part of his game. I think I've made my opinion clear on Amrabat. I don't think Manchester United will sign him on a permanent deal. I think if you see the likes of, was it Kefren Turam from Nice being linked, and he's got roughly 15 to 20 million it will cost to get him. I think Manchester United will be able to probably upgrade on Amrabat. I don't think we'll be signing him. Vicky saying, I'm not sure what you're surprised about. He's not that good. He's not incredible, but the profile of him is, that's why I thought he would make such a difference. But we need better. We need better. Now look. Oh, as if it's done that again. 1 second here. Let me quickly set these up before we go into it. Because we are now going to do the United People's TV end of season awards. End of season, you can call them awards if you want, not necessarily. But right. As I said, these votes were cool. I held them on the community tab over the last week. And thank you very much for getting involved, because so many of you got involved that it makes it a pretty fair reflection of kind of what the community feels. And we started with speaking about the player of the season. And this is what you voted, right? Bruno Fernandes got 31,000 of you voted for this one. And 46% of you, let's zoom out a little bit there, you can get the 4 options. I put Harry Maguire down there. I didn't really know who else to put down there. I kind of didn't really need to put Harry Maguire there. But in terms of the player of the season, Bruno Fernandes got 46% of the vote. Diogo Dalot got 31%. Some people are mentioning Kobbie Mainoo down there. I don't think Kobbie Mainoo would have been part of this vote. And I'll be honest, I don't really think Harry Maguire was too. I don't really know why I put him there. Do I agree? Would I go Diogo? I think I'm probably going for Bruno. I think I'm going for Bruno. Quite a few of you speaking about Mainoo. And Mainoo didn't even kick a ball until November. So I probably should have put Mainoo in there, right? Ahead of Maguire. I'll be totally honest. But 46% of you chose Bruno Fernandes. It's going to be either Bruno or Dalot who wins it, all right? And quite a few of you are saying that you would choose Dalot. It is what it is. Mainoo should replace Maguire on the list. Well, good. I can't do that anymore. That's just how the vote went. So Bruno Fernandes, according to community, he is the player of the season. So the surprise of the season. And the reason I did this vote, or I called it that, was like, against your expectations of a player going into the season, who surprised you? Someone down there saying that you can't hear. Dude, my audio is completely fine. It's on your end. All right. I know my audio is fine because I can see my levels. Surprise of the season. I don't know why I put Harry Maguire in so many of these votes. But against the expectations that you had of said player going into the season, 46% of you said Harry Maguire. Look, 23,000 votes on that one. And Harry Maguire's got 46%. Diogo Dalot's got 28%. You actually can't see Harry Maguire getting 46. There he is. Diogo Dalot's got 28%. Johnny Evans got 17%. And Scott McTominay's got 9%. Is there anybody on this list there? So if this is the surprise of the season, do you think I've missed someone? Is there somebody on that list that should have been there? Hojlund, I wouldn't say that's a surprise. I expected Hojlund to be good, and I think Hojlund has been good. And you're angry, you want that to be Johnny Evans? Mate, Johnny Evans, right? I think I'd probably agree with that. In terms of the expectations going into this season, I didn't think that Johnny Evans was going to like hardly play at all. I thought he might play one game here or there. And he's ended up being probably our best centre-back. I mean, it's not exactly a hard vote. But yeah, for me, that would be Johnny Evans. I think I agree with that down there. I didn't think he was hardly going to play, let alone how important he's been. Cambuela down there. Nah. Johnny Evans for me. Surprise of the season. Right. A super chat there from Alex. Let me read this out. What are you saying, sir? The question on Amrabat should be this. Who can United get that costs the same as him but can perform better? That's my point. I personally think Manchester United, if we're smart about it, can probably sign a central midfielder in the 15 to 20 million pound range. I think could probably do what Amrabat does, but a little bit better and a little bit more athletic. people laughing at me saying that Evans has been the best centre back. I mean, if you really want to argue, you want to put someone else forward, then be my guest. There's Maguire at points for sure. Probably Maguire went for like a 1 or 2 month period. I don't know. Anyway, whoever it is, you do you. This next vote here, right? 30,000 votes. And this one was really, really close, this vote. It was actually the closest of all the votes. Who would get your goal of the season? Who am I kidding? We already know what that one is. It wasn't even slightly close. 91% of you, obviously.
For Garnacho! Oh, wow! Oh, wow! That is one of the great goals in front of a stunned Gladys Street.
Look at that. Soundboard. I'm getting my soundboard game up. Garnacho won goal of the season for BBC Sport. Garnacho will win goal of the season for the Premier League. And just in a season of just disappointments and being second best and all the problems that we've had, Garnacho's probably scored the goal of the year in the whole league. Fair play to him, man. I love Garnacho. I'll be honest, I think in 3 years' time, we're going to be having a conversation about him going to Real Madrid, and I'm not looking forward to that conversation. But I'm just going to enjoy him being a United player for as long as I possibly can. Deservedly named goal of the season by the United People's TV community, and he was, well, I think he'll win Premier League goal of the season as well. Yeah, Danny, I saw that. Like, people trying to say Kudus was better yesterday. I was like, I'm guessing you just forgot about the Garnacho one, right? I'm guessing you just forgot about the Garnacho one. Right. Next one, okay? Fire it in the comments now. Who would you have down as the young player of the season? I'll tell you who I had nominated. This one had 40,000 votes. You know how cool that is? It's really, the reason I say it's cool is because there's so many of you voted that it makes it kind of a fair reflection of how the community feels overall. There were 4 options on this list: Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad, Alejandro Garnacho, and Rasmus Hojlund. All right? I can see what a lot of you want down there in the comments, and a lot of you are going to be happy. Because with 79% of the vote, 40,000 votes, Kobbie Mainoo chosen as the young player of the season for Man United. And that is one I'm going to agree with. I wouldn't have put him in the conversation for player of the season, but he, for me, gets young player of the season. Feel a little bit like it's slightly harsh on Garnacho, considering just how much he's been available for us. But for Kobbie Mainoo to come through with the levels of composure that he showed in a Manchester United team that was so massively dysfunctional, and the way that he plays, and the style of Mainoo. Yeah, man. He richly deserves this. Yeah, Willie Campbell, mate, you could have put him on this list if you wanted to, but 79% of you chose Kobbie Mainoo. And this was his breakthrough season. You know how last season was Alejandro Garnacho's breakthrough season? And this season has been where he's been able to develop and improve. Next season, and hopefully one that he gets to start games in August instead of having to wait until November for an injury to go away. Kobbie Mainoo, young player of the season. That was the wrong button. Kobbie Mainoo, young player of the season, as voted for by the United People's TV community. Right, let's just ignore I did that. Anyway, now, because you can't ignore the elephant in the room, sorry about that. We also voted for disappointment of the season. And there's been a lot of disappointments. All right. Who was your disappointment of the season so far? Not season so far. Who was your disappointment of the season? Again, given versus expectations of them players coming into the season, who were you most disappointed with? And this vote had 27,000 votes on it. All right. And I put down 3 options for this one. And with 27,000 votes in, let me pull this up there. This is what the vote ended up being. Marcus Rashford with 64% of the votes. Casemiro with 20%, and Anthony down there with 15%. Nick Murphy, Onana. You know full well I won't be doing stuff like this in players' first seasons at the club, and I don't think he's anywhere near this list, given how disappointing these three players have been. Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals last year, right? People are speaking about Mason Mount and Luke Shaw. It depends on your, I suppose, definition of disappointing. Mason Mount's missed, what, like 75% of football through injury? It's been disappointing, but the bloke's been injured. Luke Shaw, just disappointing, but the bloke's been injured. So I'm disappointed that he's not been able to play rather than disappointed in how he's played. And that's why these three are on this list ahead of those. And Marcus Rashford, yeah, he scored 30 goals last season. You're thinking he's going to build on it. And then Marcus Rashford, I think, is the disappointment of the season. But Casemiro as well. Oi. Man, there's been some disappointments. And speaking of Casemiro, did you see this interview that happened before the game? Casemiro was speaking about the criticism that was... I think this is a consequence of Jamie Carragher at half-time against Crystal Palace saying that... I think so anyway, on Sky Sports. Saying that Casemiro's finished and he's just done at the top level. And then this is what Casemiro said, right? He goes, from the moment when you feel disrespected, I don't think it's right. And that is when I lose respect for those people. Even if you look towards the end of last season, the team were playing well, with plenty of positive comments. There's always going to be criticism in football, especially playing for such a long time. People want to criticize. But from the moment when it lacks respect, that's when you lose my respect. And I mean, at what point... I honestly, this is a genuine question of mine. At what point does that criticism go too far then? At what point does it lack respect? Is Jamie Carragher saying that he's finished at the top level overboard, or is that a reflection of Carragher's opinion? Which you may... an opinion can't be wrong. You might disagree with an opinion, but it can't be wrong. I personally think a majority of the criticism towards Casemiro has been pretty fair. Also saying that, I think Casemiro played pretty well yesterday. And maybe it's... But this is the thing, right? You're Manchester United. You're not going to get a hall pass so you can learn how to play at centre-back. The expectations are... You go in there straight away and you do a job, which he hasn't done. I don't know whether that's... Yeah, I don't know at what point the criticism goes too far. I crossed the line about criticism of Casemiro. I don't think I have. Yes, I have an opinion. And yes, I do think Casemiro is finished at the top level for Manchester United in the Premier League. And yes, I do think Casemiro should be sold this summer. Do I think I'm disrespectful in saying that? And Casemiro might see it that way, but I'm looking at my team, and I'm saying what I'm seeing, and I don't think I'm going overboard in that criticism. Opinions can be disrespectful. I understand that. I don't think. I mean, I've no point have I ever said a dead player. What are you people coming out with? Casemiro needs to be sold this summer. End of story. There is no... Well, let's see. Let's see how ruthless INEOS truly are. Because if you want to, you could, in theory, right? You can see what some of the comments down here are saying. Oh, give Casemiro another season, man. You know, bring him back. He was great last season. Okay, you can do that if you want. I don't think that's being ruthless. I think that's going there and going, well, it might work out again. Nah, man. I don't know how I'm not reading the room here in any way, shape, or form. I've got my opinion on Casemiro, and I had it early this season, and it's only just been reinforced by everything I've continued to see. Have we exposed Casemiro with the style of play that we've had? Yeah, we played with an isolated number 6. He had to cover a lot of ground on his own, and I think Erik Ten Hag massively over-expected on him. Over-expected on him? Doesn't make any sense. But he expected way too much of him to cover way too much ground. That didn't help. Then he got injured. That didn't help. And then Casemiro himself, with his performances, have not helped. And he is, I think, on the highest wages at our football club. Casemiro's got to be sold. I think for himself as well. Just go out and enjoy the last year or two of your career in the sun. Get paid well for it. It's a bit like Rafa Varane. Just enjoy the sunset. Quick question. Would we think Casemiro was a failure if he was bought for 20 million as opposed to 70 million? Far less. Far less. But Casemiro was never, ever part of a long-term plan. Casemiro was a reaction from Manchester United in the market. A B plan that John Murtough had pulled up, but in no way, shape or form was Casemiro a B plan for Frenkie de Jong. And at no point was he ever part of a long-term sustainable strategy, because now 2 years later, we need to spend 50, 60 million on the exact position that we signed Casemiro. It's not the price tag, it's Casemiro. It seems people are getting pretty heated about this down there. What are you saying? Not saying he shouldn't be sold, just what you're saying and how you're talking about it doesn't show what you normally do better. I don't know how in the world I'm being disrespectful here to Casemiro. How are people taking this opinion? He was incredible last season. I loved what Casemiro did last season. But I can see what I can see in front of me. And I can see a man, I'm not questioning whether he's trying. I'm not questioning his professional approach. I'm just seeing what I can see. And as part of this new build of Manchester United, Casemiro is not involved in it. And you're delaying the inevitable if you don't sell him this summer. People, man. Wow. Jeez. That's what I mean. I'm glad this season is over, so we can move on from these conversations. Because this is it. This is what it's. United fans, we're all like that now. Not like that too much, but it's that sort of season, isn't it? Stuart, you're saying if you keep Casemiro, which I think we should not, he needs to have progressive centre back so he can sit and split them when in possession of the ball. That's kind of ended up being what Amrabat's done these last few games, but anyway, 20% of you voted Casemiro at this point of the season, and 64% of you voted Rashford. So we'll do like an Instagram carousel where we put all these down to show what you as a community really thought. But let's wrap up the show with a little bit of positivity, because Manchester United's under 14. Oh, that's loud. No, thank you. They have won the under 14s Premier League Super Cup. Is it called the Super Cup? Albert Phelan Super Cup, which I think is the equivalent. You know how the under 18s won the Premier League North and then the Premier League National? I think this was the equivalent of that. They already won that Albert Phelan Cup, and now I think they've won the national one. And nice little photo here. Michael Carrick and his boy. Kai Rooney scored in the final yesterday as well. So congratulations to both of them. So it must be like Rooney and Carrick going down there. How's your boy getting on? Oh yeah, how's Kai getting on? Kai Rooney, really, really nice goal, man. Little left-footed lob over the goalkeeper. Yeah, under 14s. We've had some nice successes. Under 14s, they're winning the Premier League, well, the Albert Phelan Cup and the Super Cup. The under 18s winning the, well, a treble of sorts. And look, the under 17s, you've got Harry Amass and Jack Fletcher have both been called up to the England under 17 squad for the Euros. Shea Lacey probably would have been in that one as well. But he's not in that one because he's injured again. Man, he's had a right tough season in terms of injuries. Feel sorry for him. But I think that starts tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think it does. But good luck to them. Now, to finish this conversation here, last couple minutes, it's been pretty fair this whole way through. It seems like the Casemiro conversation around criticism is something that is getting people's backs up. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to define that line between fair criticism and when it goes too far and when you lose respect. Is that when you... I suppose it must be the point where you make like a definitive opinion. Like you actually no, I've now got a definitive opinion on Anthony. He's not good enough to play for Manchester United and he should be sold. It doesn't mean it's disrespectful. It means that I've watched Anthony now for 2 years and I've made my mind up because I've seen enough evidence. I've now watched Casemiro for 2 years, incredible as he was last season. I've seen the decline this season. And I know that that's only going in one direction. And I've made my opinion that Casemiro should be sold. He's not finished as a footballer. He's not a dead player or what anybody else is trying to put in my mouth. But Casemiro should be sold. That's not disrespectful. I'm talking about football players here. I'm not going anything. Man, people are just... If you're taking that in something else, then I don't know. You do you. FA Cup final. We'll do a full preview of the FA Cup final Thursday. I think we'll do it on Thursday. Next few days, I'm going to be taking the opportunity to look ahead towards the summer. All the big questions around. There's loads and loads of stuff. We were in the FA Cup final last season, and the excitement lasted about, what was it, 20 seconds before Gundogan finished. Well, I hope that doesn't happen this season. Should have Lisandro Martinez back, but you've seen City, man. You've seen City. We'll have a look at what goes on here. Disrespecting views is basically when it's not constructive, it's negative feedback. See, that's the point I've got to disagree with. It's not disrespectful of me to say that Manchester United should sell Casemiro this summer. And if you honestly, if you consider that disrespectful, then wow. It would be disrespectful of me to say I think he's finished at the top level. It doesn't mean that he can't go. Man, people are wow. I'm moving on from Casemiro. Look, I don't know what to expect from this FA Cup final. Actually, that's a lie. I know exactly what to expect from this FA Cup final. I just hope I'm wrong. I hope that United can find a way of doing it. We tried it at the Etihad, okay? We tried doing the deep defensive block. And it worked for the first half and we were 1-0 up. But everybody knew that City were just going to wear you down. And that's what City do. So United can't, even if they're on point defensively in the first half, it won't last for 90 minutes. City will break through that. That's what City do right now. So you can't approach the game like that. You also can't approach the game going toe-to-toe with City and leaving spaces because they'll beat you in that sense. So we're going to have to find a hybrid. And I don't know what that is, and it's going to be difficult. And tactically, everyone's going to have to be screwed on. Probably a bit of a mid-block, Joshua. I imagine that's what it is. But we can't box defend. We can't do the high press, which therefore means you have to do the mid-block. Boy. Of course I'm looking forward to it. It's the FA Cup final. How can you not look forward to an FA Cup final? The showpiece, the end of the season. But for United to come out of that game and win, we're going to have to make some big changes to what happened in both games against City this year. Thank you, everybody, for just being here this season. It's been far more downs than ups. But I'm looking forward to the FA Cup final. Come what may, I'm looking forward to the summer. Will INEOS really, truly change how we operate this summer? I think this is going to be a big one for a lot of you as to how much you actually trust INEOS. they've gained some of my trust, I'll be honest. I think the way that they've acted so far and all the appointments and the people that are leaving and the way that they are operating with the staff and everything, I don't particularly agree with the concept of forcing everyone to work from the office now, but they've lost trust in the workforce, and that's what they're doing. And I'm not sure you saw Jim Ratcliffe's interview with Sky News, but that guy's a King Tory. So it's not surprised to see him doing that. But will they be equally as ruthless and effective when it comes to transfers? When it comes to probably just as important is how well we sell. Close your ears if you're going to get offended. I think Man United should be selling Casemiro. I think Man United should be selling Anthony. I think Man United should be selling quite a few other players. Whether we will be able to or not, different conversation. But thank you all for tuning in all season. I'll be here, of course, Monday to Friday throughout the entire summer. So make sure you join in. I hope you enjoyed the slightly new overlay and the new thumbnail. Big up to... Oh, Stuart. Stuart, you've gifted 10 memberships. As if I missed that. Don, thank you very much, man. Plenty of Dons. It's like loads of Carlo Ancelottis in the comments. Little cheeky 10. Gary.
Oh, 10!
Nice. Am I going on the break after the FA Cup final, Jonathan? Are you kidding me? The summer is about 1,000,000 times busier for me. I don't know when I'm going to get on a trip or a holiday, but it's certainly not going to be anytime soon. Big up, everybody. Take it easy.